Daisy. She wants love.
They look sweet, don't they? So comfortable with each other. But it wasn't always like that. When Daisy and little Luna first met, there were no smiles, no games. This is the story of a true friendship that took time to grow, a journey from fragility to trust, from distance to love. If you're ready, let's begin. Daisy was a 4-year-old girl. Her joy was quiet, delicate. She played softly with her toys, lost in her imagination. She didn't warm up to strangers easily. Their home wasn't big, but Daisy's inner world was vast. She loved watching the world from the window, listening to her mother's voice in the kitchen, and curling up in the corner of the sofa with her picture books. But there was also a quiet loneliness. She couldn't name it yet, but sometimes she'd feel like crying, for no reason at all. She'd just stand still, listening to the silence around her. Her parents loved her deeply, but they knew it too. Something was missing in Daisy's life, a space still waiting to be filled. And one day, that empty space appeared, on tiny paws with trembling steps and a shy little gaze. That day had started like any other. Daisy was lining up her toys, playing peacefully in her own little world, until the door opened. In walked a tiny puppy, soft fur, blue eyes wide with uncertainty. Still carrying the chill of the outside, her damp paws moved cautiously across the floor. Her mother said, "This is your new friend." Daisy didn't answer. She didn't move. She just watched. The little husky had no name. Daisy didn't give her one. Not that day. She didn't approach her, only watched from a distance. She stood in the middle of the room. She curled up in the corner of the sofa. Two small souls, both silent, both trying to understand something new. That night, there were two worlds inside the same house. One, 4 years old, who knew words but couldn't express her feelings. The other, just a few weeks old, who had never known words but felt everything. One evening after dinner, Daisy sat quietly at the table, her plate untouched, her eyes fixed on the husky curled up on the carpet. It was the first time she had truly watched her. Her tiny chest rose and fell gently. She looked calm, safe, like he finally belonged. That's when her father asked, "What do you think? Should we give her a name?" Daisy didn't say anything. Then her mother whispered, "She has gray and white fur, like the moon. What if we called her Luna? Quiet like moonlight, but strong." Daisy gave a small nod and smiled. For the first time, she called her by name, Luna. The puppy lifted her head, tilted it slightly, and gently wagged her tail, as if to say, "Yes, that's me." From that moment on, she wasn't just a puppy. She had a name, and her place in Daisy's life had a name too. Luna was the newest member of the family, but she was the last one to realize it. Everything felt unfamiliar. The floors were slippery, the smells were strange, the voices loud and confusing. As she walked through the hallway on her tiny paws, she flinched at every shadow. There were traces of abandonment in her little heart. She had arrived in a new place, but carried with her the fears of the past, uncertainty, hesitation, and loneliness. Daisy, too, was changing. After Luna arrived, new emotions began to surface. She found Luna adorable, yes, but she didn't like the chaos that came with her. She could no longer leave toys on the floor. Luna would chew them. Quiet moments were interrupted by pounces. Whenever Daisy climbed into her mother's lap, Luna would try to do the same. A small, unfamiliar feeling started to grow inside Daisy. Something like jealousy, something like not wanting to share. Day by day, the differences between them became clearer. Daisy liked order. Luna loved chaos. Daisy cherished silence. Luna barked with joy. Daisy avoided her. Luna backed away when she got close. The distance wasn't physical. It was emotional, as if they were speaking two different languages. A few days passed like this. The family understood that this bond wouldn't form overnight, but they were patient, because some connections can't be rushed, especially when they involve two small, fragile souls. And then one day, with no plan, no effort, a moment happened. Maybe just a few seconds, but it was enough to melt the first layer of ice between them. That day was unusually quiet, not sunny, not gloomy, just a soft gray sky, as if it mirrored them both. Inside the house, it was still. Daisy was on the carpet, scribbling in her sketchbook. Luna lay curled up near the window, a few feet away. They weren't touching, but they were there, side by side. But that day, the distance felt too far for Daisy. She didn't know why. Maybe she just had a feeling. Maybe she didn't want to be alone anymore. She set her pen down and slowly got up. Quietly, she walked over to Luna. Luna lifted her head, but this time, she didn't pull away. Even when Daisy's tiny feet stopped right beside her, she stayed still. Daisy reached out, gently, hesitantly. Her fingertip brushed Luna's soft ear. Luna flinched, just a little. But then, she tilted her head into Daisy's hand. It was just a moment, a breath. But something had changed. Daisy sat on the floor. Luna rested her head on her knee. No adults told them to do this. No one said, "Be friends." This was something they chose, together. From across the room, her mother watched. She smiled, a quiet smile that said, "Now it's real." Everything didn't change at once. But from that moment on, something had begun. Daisy wasn't just looking at Luna anymore. She was seeing her. And Luna. Luna wasn't just watching Daisy. She was learning her scent, her rhythm, and choosing to stay close. That tiny gesture was the first open window between two lonely souls. That day began like any other. The weather was calm, the house was quiet. Daisy had eaten her breakfast and asked to play in the garden. Her mother opened the back door and Daisy stepped out slowly. Luna followed, just like she always did. But that day, something was different. At the far end of the garden, just beyond the fence, something caught Daisy's eye. A butterfly. She ran after it, full of excitement. But the fence was old, broken in places. Daisy suddenly tripped, lost her balance, and fell into a shallow ditch near the edge of the yard. It wasn't deep, but for a 4-year-old, it felt like falling into another world. She was stuck in the dirt, scared, frozen. She tried to call out, but no sound came. Tears filled her eyes. And in that moment, she looked at Luna. And Luna looked back. But she didn't just look. She moved. She rushed to Daisy's side. When she saw her crying, she began to bark. Not a playful bark, but sharp, urgent, desperate. Then she turned and ran, straight to the house. She jumped at the door, scratched at the glass with her paws, and barked, over and over again. Daisy's mother heard the noise and came running. When she opened the door, Luna bolted. She didn't look back, just ran. And when her mother followed, she found Daisy in the ditch. She was crying, but she wasn't hurt. The only real wound was fear, and Luna's voice had broken through it. Her mother scooped Daisy into her arms. Daisy turned and hugged Luna, her tiny hands wrapped tightly around her neck. And Luna just stood there, her eyes still filled with worry. But her tail gently wagged. She knew everything was okay now. That day, something became clear in Daisy's heart. Luna wasn't just a dog. She was her guardian, a silent hero, protecting the heart of a little girl. Years passed. Daisy is no longer 4. Her sentences grew longer. Her steps became surer, her gaze deeper. But every morning when she wakes, her eyes still search for Luna. When she paints, she still leaves space beside her for Luna to sit. At night, she still looks for a familiar shadow by the door. And Luna? She's not that tiny, trembling puppy anymore. Her fur is thicker, her steps slower. But her eyes, they still soften when she sees Daisy. She still walks proudly by her side. And when Daisy cries, Luna still rests her head gently on her knees. So much has changed. Seasons passed, toys broke, books piled up. But one thing never changed, the bond between them. It wasn't a chain, it wasn't a promise. It was made of glances, silences, and thousands of shared little moments. Because some bonds aren't built with time, they're built with heart. And what's built with the heart doesn't break easily. Thank you for watching. Perhaps Daisy and Luna's story reminded you of your own. If it touched your heart, please consider liking the video and subscribing to our channel. We'd love to share more stories like this, stories that warm the soul. Until next time, stay kind, stay close, stay with love.